recap.
Oh God.
Tell them your channel name.
Mother's Recovery Inc.
And that's what it's Inc?
Yeah.
Oh.
On that one.
He does off-roading stuff. And he has an off-road record.
Yeah.
Okay, so first I have to give you a little bit of context here. And a little bit of history on this machine. I've owned this machine for probably about 2 years now. When I bought it for $500 from my friend Joe. Customer basically gave him the machine to pay off the bill of what he owed him, which wasn't that much. It was probably about $500, but the machine is old. It's had a pretty rough life. A lot of loose bushings on it and everything. But at the time, it wasn't even running. Now this machine, I have been this one personally I've been involved with for probably about 8 years, maybe even more. When I first started working at Joe's shop, this machine would come in regularly, and it's like any old machine, it needed a lot of work, and its owner wasn't really a mechanical person, so was in and out of Joe's shop a lot. It originally had a 2-cylinder Kohler 20-horse engine in it, and the engine had a lot of problems, and it was pretty much at the end of its life when I got the machine. It wasn't running at the time, so I had a good 31 horsepower Vanguard that ran beautifully that I swapped into it. Very easy swap. But it really woke that machine up. I mean, it's a powerhouse. I barely run it over half throttle, and it does everything I need to do. Now, this is a smaller machine. It was one of New Holland's very first, if not their first generation of hydraulic skid steers. It's a very light machine. The capacity of the bucket is about 900 pounds. It does have a material bucket on it, which is very large. I mean, you wouldn't fill that bucket with stone or anything because the thing would fall right on its face. But anyway, I used this thing for years, and it looks rough and all. From somebody tried to, I don't know what they were doing. They tried to paint it red in some areas, and they tried to touch it up, and they didn't do a very good job. But anyway, I always said that I was going to fix it up one day. So that's what the plan is now. I didn't get much footage of the initial teardown or anything, but pulling it all apart. This isn't going to be a nut and bolt restoration by any means, anything like that. But we may sandblast the whole thing and all. I'm adding auxiliary hydraulics to it. And this has been really, honestly, it's been a really amazing machine. I didn't think it would be nearly as useful as it is. So I think it deserves another shot at life, and we're going to clean it up, and you guys are going to be along for the ride and see it all happen. So yeah, enjoy.
The metal.
It's going through the...
It's eating the metal instead of the bushing is what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. No, I'll need bigger bushings through the metal.
It looks like this one's been re-welded.
I didn't do that. I don't even know if I even did this.
One of the... It's for... There's like a rod that goes across for the pedals in here, for actually... You could actually feel it if you move that one. It's the cross... rod that goes, it's a rock shaft. It's some type of drain.
We should probably make a new line looking split.
Yeah, I also gotta, there's some plumbing I gotta do too, because I'm putting auxiliaries on it, so.
Auxiliaries?
Oh yeah.
Thing's not big enough.
I gotta re-weld in here through the battery mount and all. It's rod. You can see I cut the rest of it out. It was iron, a big, heavier piece welded in there, then maybe another one in here, or put something on the bottom. I don't know yet. Something. So I cut it out. I mean, it was like Swiss cheese, like most old battery compartments are. What do you think, Joe?
I think I'm happy.
You're happy?
You see all this bright organization?
It's called money.
Like, because normally you clean the pad and then shove a bunch of shit against the pad. That shop is packed full of shit that hasn't been used in years. I built the torque extensions for Mark's truck. So I'm going to build a couple of those for the 14 ton and stuff like that. heavy stuff.
Yeah, it's a little too big. Definitely wouldn't rust out, that's for sure, though. There you go, everybody. That's Cord's other off-road truck. Oh yeah, that'll work. Well, that'll do her. Beautiful. Thank you, Cord. Wow, it is hot in here. That's his other off-road wrecker here.
That's because we got the monster heater going.
All right. It's
That's basically ride height.
his diesel one. Yeah, look at that.
So,
those big tires on there. Jeez.
43-inch stickies, mud bumpers. So
Power stroke diesel.
this is all going bye-bye. This won't be here anymore.
What won't be there? The fender?
Fender.
Oh, really? What are you
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
So I'm gonna run the hydraulics on the whole truck.
Nice. We got his Holmes back here. Boom. What's the boom on the other truck? Is that a Holmes?
No, it's yeah, it's a Holmes 220.
Nice.
Also the same as a 440, but one had either the 440 had a whatchamacallit drive, PTO drive winch instead of a.
Me and Cord are pulling the old engine out of my truck this week, and I don't think he knows we're doing that, but we are. And we're gonna put the diesel in my dump truck, and Cord's gonna use the parts from that truck for something else, right?
Well,
All right, I'll see ya. Thank you. Well, that worked out good. Cord builds some very cool stuff. He has a channel too, and he does a lot of off-road builds and recoveries and all. His family owns a towing company. What we got here is this is the battery box. Battery sits back here, as you can see. Batteries don't sit well with old machinery, especially when they, constantly charge and discharge and all. Then you got, acid coming out and everything. So I cut all this out. I mean, it was Swiss cheese anyway. It couldn't support any weight whatsoever, so it cut out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out where we need to put this angle iron at. If I can get a good angle here. Put angle iron across the back to brace it, and then I'm gonna put a piece of steel plate. So let's see. So if we do 19 inches, that should be good, and that'll clear us now. This is the fuel fill tube, so we do not want to weld anywhere near that or to it. We will, well, technically we will be welding near it, but we don't want to weld to the point where it goes through it. And I just realized I left this door open, letting all the hot air out. Closed. Alright, so 19 inches, we'll cut that angle iron at. Maybe I'll use the bandsaw. Might be easier. That with the rest of our scrap steel. Check our work. Let's see. Should be good for bracing it. The other problem is getting actually into this corner to weld is really what you want to do. You don't really want to weld just at the back, but unfortunately, I don't know if we can do that because it's just rotted out like crazy there. And we have these tabs that stick out over here, so almost might be better to bolt this rather than weld it for some meat that is existing. I would like to weld plate though if we can. There's a bottom support piece here. Maybe we can even put in another support. It would be a bad idea. Alright, well, let's get measurements for the actual steel plate. And we'll get cutting that out. So, let's see. It's a 5-inch. This is 5-inch. We got enough. You know, I wonder if the way that notch is out, if I. It's not gonna be enough. Oh, I'll tell you what though, this plate is like literally 20. Oh, oh my god, it's 22 wide. The only problem, so I was thinking where the fill tube is, because I have to cut a notch out for it. That is almost the size of it. That would be perfect if it fit right in there, but the tube is not this wide. The tube's this wide. Unfortunately, this is like perfectly 22 inches. So, but you know, I can get 5 out of there. So I guess if I plasma cut it, it shouldn't be a problem. Any here? Ooh, do we? Oh, I love these. Nice and sharp. This is a very awkward shaped piece of steel, so maybe I'll just cut this anyway. Oh well, doesn't have to be perfect. And there we go again, where it's not going to be straight. But, Alright, now the question is, do I use my plasma cutter, or do I use the new plasma cutter? Apparently they burned up all the consumables on it the other day. But, let's see if that's really true. Oh my goodness. Come on, guys. What the heck? And we need new... Oh my... Okay. Yeah, we're not going to be using that one. That's what happened, apparently, the other day when I wasn't here. Oh my god, what the heck did they... Look at this. They ruined the tip of it and everything. Okay. So we need to hook up my plasma cutter. Okay. Unhook the CNC torch. And of course I zip tied it all because we were using it on the CNC. Little Cut 50. It's actually a really good plasma cutter. For the price, I don't think you could get a decent machine for that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not hypertherm, but it does everything I've thrown at it. It's very small and very light. And it also cost under $200, which I never thought I'd be able to buy a good plasma cutter for that. Like, that works, like, really well. Okay, let's check our consumables. Let's check this one. Electrode looks good. Tip looks good. And cone looks good. Dirty, but fine. Okay. Alright, so I'm thinking what we'll do here is get a ground clamp. I think we'll do the little 3-inch cutout first. See where that's going to run enough. Because that'll probably be easier. Let me just make sure that now I'm not going to contact the back. Perfect, that's right. Alright, well, here's... Pretty good. miss a spot there. Went a little too fast over one part. Let's. There we go. Clean it up. There we go. Okay. Both in there. Beautiful. That's all part. Okay. And this one, okay, we just gotta finish out the ends of this one. Beautiful. All right. Hopefully that's good. All right. So that would be squared off a little because we'd have the angle iron in there. It'd be kind of more so like that. Okay, I'm happy with that. So have that. You have the angle iron supporting the back. Most likely it would go on top of the angle iron. I just don't have a way to support it while I'm holding it right now. Here, let's see, I'll reach from the back. So if we make this one piece like this, and we weld that, I think that's pretty good. I don't know if there's going to be an issue with this coming out. I'm trying to think the way the seat goes in here. No, because the seat mounts like that. Okay, you know what? There's a cover plate that goes over here. So maybe the angle iron can go behind the. Okay, all right. Now we're getting somewhere. I'll kind of sandwich it. That would help. Like that. I'll have to cut some more of that rot out. Okay, I like that. And then this will actually end up going back a little further once I cut more of this out. I actually like that. That's good. And then that won't be by the taper. Wow. Okay. Yep. That's how we're gonna do it. I mean, the battery was saying it wasn't falling out. So I mean, it was weak, but I didn't know it until I took the thing apart because it was in there fine. Like until you took it out, you actually couldn't see that. So I'll show you what I need with the angle iron here. So I'm gonna have it come on the back like that, and then I'll weld that plate to it, and Gucci. And it's gonna get coated anyway because it's all getting painted and sealed and everything. So it should be fine. So this is going to be the color of the skid steer. It's going to be New Holland blue and black, which is not traditional at all, but you know, the machine needs a touch up, at least slightly. It's not supposed to be a long, drawn out, you know, process. It's not. I'm not going to have the thing sandblasted, at least as of now. I'm not. But I did see a picture of like a specialty New Holland skid steer that was blue. Like the agricultural machines, tractors, things like that, and you know, blue and black. And I actually thought it was really, really cool looking. So I figure, you know, my $500 skid steer, it's not going to hurt it. I think if anything, it'll actually look pretty cool. This will strain it when it goes in. So what do we got? 8 to 1. I don't even want to put that much in because I'm only doing a panel, but judging by the way that looks, whatever. Like, such a small amount I need to use. I'm literally just doing the instrument panel. But I want to get done because I primered it and I have electronics and all to do on it still. I really want to just get the freaking thing done. I don't want to pour a lot of paint. I don't want to mix a lot of paint because it's hardly going to take any. You know, honestly, I wish I had a spray paint can in this color. I couldn't find it. I could find the old New Holland colors. I couldn't find any of the new ones in a spray paint can. At least at Tractor Supply. And I looked online, but they don't look the same color to me. So I don't know, but whatever. All right. I don't even think that's gonna go to 1, but it's halfway there. So so if I measure everything else, judging by looking at it, in half the increments, I should be fine, right? Go with that. This is terrible. You know, I really need another lid, and I don't have one. This one's rusted to heck, and you get a layer on top. This is what came off of there. You get a layer of that. So I don't know. Beggars can't be choosers. I don't know. The reducer in. So if that's halfway to 1, go. It looks to be about right. Mix her on up. It's going to be very hard to judge how much is actually going in here. I'm not going to measure it, but I'll do just a little bit. I'd rather have less than more. Like, yes, it's nice that it helps dry faster and gives you a hardened finish, but you know, you also get chipping and stuff if you go too much. So I'd rather have, with this, for what I'm using it for, I'd rather have less than more. Probably gonna have too much paint, but oh well. Do this panel here. Paint it blue. Tack up. See if we get this cut out. Well, you know, there's more, but I think that'll do. because it's the filter housing, but that's okay. So, I guess what we'll do, maybe we'll tack that first with the plate, but I don't know if I should go on top or below. Probably below. Decisions. So I want it to be on that mount there. So, but if I go below, okay, that'll work. And then I'll still leave that kind of even with that. It's not gonna be perfect, but that's okay. I hate welding to such crappy. I mean, there's meat on there, but it's pitted and it's not going to look good. But oh well, whatever. We're not really about just looks. Kind of got to make it functional. All right, let me get that marked out, cleaned up, and then we'll start striking some arcs. Let me do that real quick. Alright, I think we'll leave that for a minute now, and then I'll it starts to get a little bit drier. We'll hit her again. Carrying on that. Ooh, I got a little on the lens. Take that off. Nice. Okay. Alright, back to where we were then. We'll do our ground here, I guess, and then we're gonna have to go along that edge, but that edge here probably won't go in there because this tube I don't want to mess with at all, even though it's painted, so you probably wouldn't arc to it. That is the fuel fill neck, and there is still some fuel in the tank, not a lot, but enough that I do not want to weld the fuel neck. And yes, gasoline liquid is not flammable. The vapors are. And yes, that's full of vapors, but you know, we'll see what happens. Case or us or not. Don't try this at home. This is why people do stuff on YouTube, so you can see for yourself the risks involved. And you know, if something crazy happens, it'll be all over the place. Oh, and I just put my leg into where I painted the side of the machine to test the spray powder. That's nice. Okay. Time to pull out the big guns. Cookie cutter is working, but the problem is when you get into a lot of this surface rust, well, not just surface rust, but also bubbling rust, a flat wheel tends to work better. You just gotta be careful. You can't go too crazy with it. You really gotta kind of know what you're doing, but back first, just in case. As I get paint all over the lens here. That looks better. like it. Looks good. Actually, surprised with that. And don't tell anybody, but I didn't really clean the gun last time. I did, but I didn't actually go through and clean it the way you're supposed to. Actually did not come out that bad though. I'm actually pretty happy with that. It looks good. It's actually nice and even. Nice. The good thing about that is I could get to the wiring a lot sooner because that whole panel is being redone. It's not going to be the way it was from the factory. Full disclosure, I hate this welder a lot. I like my little inverter welder. Joe gets upset about that because he paid lots of money for this big dinosaur. So we'll see what happens. I mean, this is not optimal conditions at all, but we'll see how she does. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack this plate in first, but then I'm going to try and put the angle iron in. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see. Come on. Nope. We already had a blowout. Try to be quick, I guess. Favor one side. There's no blowout. So, I don't know what that thing is. I guess not. Okay. The edge actually went very well. Yeah, leaf on fire down there. Alright. Not actually as bad as I thought it would be, to be honest with you, so far. I knew I'd have blowouts, but that was so far less than I actually thought. Okay. Let's see about the angle iron now. Underneath this, that's the plan at least. The only thing that sucks about this, there's a steel hydraulic line back here. I don't think it'll rub on it, but you know, if you don't think it'll happen, it will. So we'll see. It does move a little though. I think I can adjust it. The good thing is, before putting it in, it actually will kind of hold it in position. So that's good. But as far as durability goes, we'll see. Come on, baby. The cardinal sin of using a wrench as a hammer. Okay. Do we have room to go more? Yes, we do. Well, I will say that actually went very well so far with how that just lined up. That's beautiful, and I got enough of a tab I could weld on both of them. I love it. Love it. All right. So I just hit that piece of angle iron in. It's actually holding itself in, and I have a little bit hanging out of it that I can actually weld tabs to, you know, weld this little like tab coming out to the actual plate. So what I'm going to do, make sure it looks nice and tight up there, and then I'm going to tack her. Alright, looks good there. That looks good there. Okay, let's see if that end. Oh, that end ain't moving. Actually, I could probably push her in a little. We can try that. All right, that's tacked to that. Now, let's go back inside. Tack her to the actual thing herself. So we'll tack her to the actual plate right along here. I always want to run a continuous bead, but to be honest with you, you really don't have to, especially with something like this. But I always just like find myself running it because it usually starts going well, then I just don't want it to stop. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll see if I can control myself. Okay. Make sure we're not on fire here. You look alright. Alright. You know, I want to run it so bad, but... I'll run it, whatever. Yeah, you know, whatever, because here's the thing. The less amount of gaps, you're already having 2 pieces of steel, actually 3, sandwiched together. That's never good. And they push apart, so I guess it's not bad if we just run a bead through the whole thing. You know, less of a chance of stuff getting between it. It will anyway, but... Okay. Now, that's on there. Let's try, you know, I want to turn the heat down for this to go across there because it's just going to start eating, but if I stick to one side, you know, I could probably get away with it, but I don't know. Maybe I'll turn it down. I just hate when it doesn't penetrate because, you know, you're dealing with two different thicknesses of metal. And one's thinned out like freaking cheese. And Mr. Joe is back.
I need to clean my truck.
Yeah, what is with you in that? it's going actually a little better than I thought it would. I know it doesn't say much, but this is some pretty messed up steel here. Burning leaves falling on the fuel tank. Yeah, on this Swiss cheese, the rest came
Can I
out
try
really
welding a
well.
little bit on there?
I don't think you want to. It's fucking.
Okay, try.
Really? I mean, you really want to?
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna eat right through it, and then you gotta seal it up.
Well, let me just try. At least I just want to just try.
Just try not to do it, make it too bad, because I have to then fill them back up. Trying not to be here all night.
What is it? Dude, I don't know what it is. I love welding.
Oh, I love welding
I love
too.
welding, Ross. I don't know.
Do you?
Dude,
what do you do when
lo-
you do a blow? Do you do that? That's what I do.
Alex, for some reason, I love welding, Ross.
Why?
I just because it's fun. Because it's like you burn through it. It's like okay.
Yeah, well, as long as you don't see the other side of it, because the other, well, you know, when
Dude,
you.
it looks like a fucking ice glacier.
Oh, I know. When you see the other side, and it's just like.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that is.
Well, yeah, it's rod. That's where the battery acid and stuff really did that.
But I mean, it's there.
No, it's there. It's way stronger than it was, and I'm happy so far.
Dude, I just have so much fun welding.
Alright, well, looks like crap, but for dealing with literally Swiss cheese, it's actually better than I thought it would be, to be honest. And that's saying something. So let me see what I can get as far as, I don't really want to have, let me zap it there real quick. I don't want to stay out of that area. Do as much as I can. Too good, but the rest actually looks pretty good. All right, so in hindsight, well, not even hindsight, but a hell of a lot better than I actually thought it was going to turn out. So I'm happy with it, and it's in. That's half the battle right there, is getting it done. All right, so finished up the welding on this. So let's go over it a little bit. Backside, very happy with this actually. came along pretty nicely. Got this angle iron here. I mean, this is strong. This is not gonna rust out for a very long time. I mean, you gotta remember something too. This machine's from, I'm pretty sure, the 70s, maybe early 80s. I don't remember when these were really made, but I know it was around that time. This thing's had a hard life. Now, very happy with the way the backside came out here. You know, I'm not a professional welder by any means, and I don't claim to be, but you know, I have some experience welding. I never really took classes or anything on it, so there's certain methods I use that might be right, might be wrong, I don't know. You know, when I really want to, I usually can weld pretty well. You know, it really, preparation's important, settings are important. But with this, you know, not my finest work. I'm not the happiest with it. But to be honest with you too, a lot of it is also, I mean, this metal, I don't know how well you can see that, how well that's pitted. You're not going to get that very well. And this is thin to begin with. I mean, this is not thick steel. So with that being said, you know, I mean, this is, yeah, and I did hit this with the flap wheel just to bring some of the high parts down. You know, not the best job ever, but it is in there, and it is, I mean, this steel is more than twice as thick as what originally was in there, so I think that'll be a nice battery compartment. There is a cover plate that goes over this, so you're not really going to see that anyway, but either way, it's going to end up being painted, you know, primed and painted and all. You know, the right thing to do would be to cut all this out, all this here, remake it, you know, do all that. I'm not trying to do that. One of the biggest things, and actually one of the biggest drawbacks, or biggest issues, I guess you could say, that I've had with my own projects and restorations, things like that, is being clear about what they are and what they're not. One of the biggest problems has been going too far to the point where you just become overwhelmed and you don't finish it, or it just becomes too much work. This machine I bought very cheap. It's already more than paid for itself. I mean, I've used this thing for years now since I've owned it. As small as it is, it pushes snow like you wouldn't believe. But anyway, it deserves another life. I already repowered it with a bigger, better, newer engine, and that really did wonders for it. But the reason it's in here looking the way it is right now and is apart the way it is because I think it does deserve a second life. It's been great to me, more than paid for itself, and I'm gonna, you know, make it into some, you know, what I want. And it's a small machine, but it does a lot. Like, I mean, this thing really works very hard at the farm, on jobs and all. So it deserves it, and I want to do it, and I think it would be cool. I think it would be cool to do some modernization to it too. But back to what I was saying is, you know, I mean, you can see all these drip marks and all. Somebody had painted it years ago, and then, you know, I've been getting some of the rust off, but this is all bubbled and all. You can see where I've been hitting with the needle scaler and all, and you know, it's still going to be textured after. I'm gonna sandblast it now. Joe talked me into it. I'm gonna sandblast it. Originally I wasn't even gonna do that. I was gonna hit things with the air scaler and the flap wheel and this, that, and the other, then just paint it, and, you know, it would still be rough textured. I didn't really care. You know, we're putting lipstick almost on a pig, but, you know, it's a pig that's been a pretty good machine for me. But the problem is to go as far as pulling it apart completely, nut and bolt and all. It's just not happening. I'm not going to do that with this. So some things, like I was saying before, with this pitted metal and all, you know, somebody might have a problem with that and say, oh, well, you should do it right, you should do that. It's not worth it. If I was gonna do that, I'd just go out and buy a newer machine. I mean, really, because it's been a great machine, and I'd like to put a little bit more work into it, not reinvent the wheel with it, not tear the entire thing down completely. I mean, it's already torn down more than I even anticipated. But here we are. You know, I'm adding auxiliaries to it and all, and redoing a couple things on it, and I'm gonna paint it colors I want to paint it. So it's gonna be New Holland blue and black. So it's gonna look like a New Holland tractor, but it'll be a skid steer, and I think that would be pretty nice. I already made the decals and all for it, more modern looking ones, and yeah. So stay tuned. It's gonna be a little bit longer project, so I'll have to do several videos on it. So thanks for watching.